Canadian spokesperson.
Not working ready.
How about I bend lower? So my name is Randy Joyce. I'm today's spokesperson for Arts Vote Winnipeg. We're a group of volunteers working to ensure that arts and cultural issues are addressed in our public processes. I have a few quick thank yous and then I'll get rid of the way. First of all, to our candidates, we so very much appreciate you being here today. Thank you. Thank you to you, the audience today, for coming out and engaging. I want to thank my fellow Arts Vote Winnipeg steering committee members for all of your hard work in preparing this event. A big thank you to Manitoba Theatre for Young People for providing the lovely venue we're in today. And finally, I'll both introduce and thank Dave Angus, the intrepid Dave Angus, who has once again agreed to moderate this forum for us. Dave's the president and CEO of the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce, so he's a pretty busy guy, so we're thrilled that he's here with us today. Thank you.
It was low for a reason. In front of the height that men are supposed to be. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are once again, the arts community of Winnipeg taking a leadership role in engaging our political leaders in a discussion over one of the most important issues facing this country, I know to you, and what should be to many others, and that is arts and culture in Canada. So I want to welcome you here. Thank you so much for coming and taking the time, because it has been a tradition in all election periods for the arts community of Winnipeg, and I am so proud of our arts community of Winnipeg for taking this lead. It is important for us to be discussing these issues, to be challenging our candidates, and to be learning through the process of the kinds of conditions we need in order to create the creativity that we are known for internationally, both in Canada and specifically in Winnipeg and Manitoba. But the significance of policy in this area, frankly, can't be overstated. It is not just about the arts. It's about creativity that leads to innovation and new ideas, that builds world-class cities, that enhances quality of life, that creates jobs and wealth for our communities. It's about the creative energy that defines this country by telling, showing, and playing our unique Canadian story. A creativity that helps define who we are as Canadians. Communities and countries that will thrive in decades to come will be those that create an environment that prepares the soil for our creative minds to flourish. Today we celebrate those creative minds, not just in Winnipeg, but across Canada. Today we underline the significance of arts and culture, of the arts and culture community to our future. And today we hear from our leaders that we admire and that we respect, that will speak to their vision for arts and culture in Canada. And we are so privileged to have such a great collaboration here in Winnipeg. We really are. This is unique across Canada in terms of how we collaborate here in Winnipeg. And I want to congratulate Arts Vote for once again pulling together the arts community to show leadership in Winnipeg and frankly leadership across this country. Let's give the Arts Vote organization a great hand. Where should an Arts and Culture National Forum be held? Well, of course, in the hotbed of arts and culture here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I'm so proud of our arts community, not only for the quality of creativity that they bring forward every single day, but for their leadership within our community and our country that they are showing. And here's just another great example of that leadership. So bravo to the Winnipeg Arts and Culture community. Let's give our community and you a big hand as well. To introduce the candidates. I introduce them in alphabetical order, not in order of height. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome from the Conservative Party of Canada, Ron Vernoot. From the Green Party of Canada, Denali Yen. From the New Democratic Party of Canada, Pat Martin. Anita Neville. So here's the format. We will ask the candidates 4 questions prepared by Arts Code Steering Committee. Each candidate will have a maximum of 3 minutes to answer each question. You'll have a maximum of 3 minutes to answer each question. You'll have a maximum of 3 minutes to answer each question. You'll have a 30-second warning. One other round of applause. The most important person in this room right now is the timer. Let's give Nat. 30 seconds to go, she will pull out a rock. No. She wants to pull out a rock. Put up her hand and indicate that it's time for them to wrap up the comments. Each question will be preceded by an interesting statistic highlighting the value of arts and culture in Canadian society. Now, the first question, we normally have opening comments, but the first question really speaks to the vision. And so we will not have opening comments. We'll go right to question number 1. We'll then stop after those 4 questions, and there will be an opportunity for the audience, that's you, to ask questions, pose questions either to a particular candidate or to all of the candidates. And it is about questions. It's about understanding the policy platforms. I'll ask you to keep it to a question, but start thinking about things that you want to know through the debate so that we can have a really robust question and answer period. And then at the end, we'll ask for closing comments, and we did draw for the order for closing comments to make it fair. Let's the forum begin. Question number 1 will first be answered by Rod Bernucci, then Denali Enns, and Pat Martin, and then Ethan Neville. The statistics from the Conference Board of Canada. The arts and culture sector contributed $85 billion to Canada's GDP in 2007, at 7.4% of Canada's real GDP. The question, what is your party's vision for arts and culture? And how does this apply to your riding and the broader local community? Rod Bernucci.
Well, thank you, Dave, and I appreciate being here, not only with my fellow candidates, but also so many people here from the local arts community. It's a community here in Winnipeg that has been so important to the fabric of our city over the years, but especially right now when Winnipeg is, in my opinion, the cultural capital of Canada. Not only did our government and Winnipeg that incredible title, but we've always been the cultural capital of Canada. In this community, we have so many great artists, and like you said, it has an incredible impact on our nation's GDP. Our government is very aware of that fact. So many people in our government look to the economy as one of the most important issues. And so when we had a bit of a dip in our economy in 2008, so many countries around the world, many in the G20, actually cut back on their arts funding. And this was actually something that I'm quite proud of, so I can say that our government was the only government not to cut back on arts funding, because we knew that at that very moment, our arts communities would require that additional funding that perhaps might fall by the wayside in some of the corporate donations that typically come in on an annual basis. And so we've seen incredible growth through the years, but at this moment of a difficult economy, our government has maintained that funding. On the local level, I believe it's been a real golden age for Winnipeg. We've seen some incredible investments. I've had the opportunity to advocate for many projects, and when you're a politician and you make an advocacy for a project, sometimes it comes through, sometimes it doesn't. But lately, it seems I've really had the great fortune of being involved in many announcements, from the plug-in gallery, a recent investment, to the Winnipeg Art Gallery, and of course, we see right here at the Fort the incredible growth of one of Canada's greatest future museums, the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. And this is something that I think is really going to put Winnipeg on the map, and I'm really proud our government made that investment, not only to build it, but to make it a national museum, the first national museum outside the capital region. So for the future, I want to continue to advocate within our government to maintain our arts funding, but also grow it as we have since we formed government. We've actually increased arts funding by about 20%. And we're really happy that that has had the impact that it's had, but here at the local level, I'm going to continue my advocacy, and we're going to, I think, see some great things in the future here in Winnipeg.
Thank you very much, Rod. We'll now move on to Denali Enns.
Well, the Green Party of Canada understands and appreciates the economic, social, and cultural benefits of having a thriving arts community in Canada. So therefore, our platform is very comprehensive and inclusive. So our overview is that a healthy arts and cultural community at local and international levels, or national levels, positively impacts many aspects of our society. In terms of our community, it creates thriving, vibrant communities. In terms of population health, our arts community can be involved in creating programs, community programs to engage seniors in stimulating activities. In terms of educational benefits, studies show that children that are involved in the arts and cultural activities show tremendous benefits in terms of improved literacy rates, improved literacy skills, spatial intelligence, and innovative creative problem-solving skills. And also in terms of the social integration, we can use arts and cultural activities to help break down some of the barriers that the new immigrants face when they come to Winnipeg and to Canada. An example of this is some of the great work that's being done now by the Winnipeg Arts Council and the elite trained women in their photography that they're doing. So we, as the Green Party of Canada, are very committed to making arts and culture a core component of our economic strategy, and we will provide the right conditions for artists to thrive in Canada.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Now move to Pat Martin.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. The arts and culture and heritage sector of our economy not only nourishes our hearts and our souls and our minds, it is an important engine for economic growth. This industry sector not only unites a vast and diverse nation, but it tells our stories. It introduces us to each other as much as it helps Canada introduce ourselves to the world. In my view, the CBC does more for Canadian unity than any 10 constitutions could. Locally, Winnipeg Centre, the riding that I represent, is home to actually most of Winnipeg galleries, theatres, museums, concert halls, the Royal Winnipeg Ballet. Arguably, you could say that it's the largest single private sector employer in my riding. We used to have 43 garment manufacturers. We watched as those traditional industries have walked away from our community and our country. But this is a growth industry, an industry that calls on innovation, creativity, the knowledge-based economy, all the buttons that you want to push. But the other local issue that I have to take a moment to comment on is the great pride we all feel in the Museum of Human Rights going up just a stone's throw from here. But we need a strong voice at the cabinet table in Ottawa to make sure Manitoba gets its fair share of the resources given to this sector. And let me give you one example. The Museum of Natural History in Ottawa was a $40 million project. It ended up costing $240 million. You know who paid for it? The federal government, every penny. We have a tiny shortfall to meet our commitments in this museum, and we're told to go out and do a bake sale. I mean, we have to have a tag day for our museum, whereas in the federal capital region, a cost overrun of 500%, and it's all paid for by the federal government. The city paid not a nickel, the Ontario provincial government paid not a nickel, the feds paid for it. We want another $20 or $30 million to help finish this job and deal with the cost overruns due to the time frame, etc. And we need a cabinet member, a representative from Manitoba sitting at the cabinet table that's going to bring home the bacon. Having said that, if anybody has a $20 bill, I know we don't usually pay a lot of attention to them. If you read the fine print right next to Bill Reed's beautiful sculpture about the birth of the Haida Nation, it says, "Could we ever know each other in the slightest without the arts?" And it's Gabrielle Waugh, famous Manitoba writer. Another $20 bill. It says it right here. It's kind of fitting that it's on a piece of currency because we need some currency to support the arts in a meaningful way in our home province of Manitoba.
Thank you very much, Pat. We'll move on. Our final speaker to question one is Anita.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you for your very generous introduction about the arts. I'm very pleased to be here today. I've been to this debate a few times over the years, and I found myself, as we were driving here, nervous, and I thought, why are you so nervous for this debate? I'm nervous, I think, because I care. I really care about the arts, the role of the arts in our community, and how we deal with it. The Liberal Party is certainly committed and recognizes that the arts are critical to a healthy society, contributing in a whole host of ways to making our community a sustainable community. We know that without the arts, our communities are impoverished. We know that the arts are one of the major pillars of a community, along with economic development, health, education, and an overall sustainable community. My party, like Pat has referenced, is very committed to sustaining and maintaining the CBC with long-term full funding. And those of you who are here and working in the arts know how critical the CBC is to the production of art in many manifestations. So our commitment to the CBC is unequivocal and forthright. I also want to make a comment that Pat referenced about the Museum of Human Rights. The shortfall at the moment is currently $17 million. $17 million in the overall scheme of things for an institution of this sort is not a lot of money. And I don't know that I would take the analogy of bake sales, but we're almost there at bake sales in trying to plead with the federal government for the shortfall and recognize that we were denied, or the museum was denied, the bridge financial funding that is needed to keep going. There has to be an unequivocal commitment from the federal government on this $17 million and recognize that it is a national museum in the prairies and deserves the full funding that other museums have. I also want to just speak to the importance of art in its economic manifestations. I've got all kinds of data here that talks about 6.3% of the city's labor force is employed in the arts, 25,000 jobs, 5,400 in nonprofit arts and cultural organizations. In my riding, many people live in my riding who are involved in the arts community. Involved in the arts community. Many are participants in the arts community. Many are supporters and donors of the arts community. It is a vital component of a healthy society. It is a vital component of a city to attract economic development here.